consequences for sharing inappropriate videos and photos. This comes 3 weeks after a teacher says a deep fake video started circulating on campus showing the teacher's face edited onto someone's body in a graphic video pulled from the internet. The district's police department did investigate but could not determine who made the video. The teacher is now meeting with administrators next week. All right, we're going to take a break and we'll talk.
Wrong doorbell. The family's law released a new photo showing the teen on the mend as the man who shot him appeared in court. Alex Perez is in Kansas City with the latest. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, George. This was Andrew Lester's first appearance in court since the shooting a week ago today. Now, 84-year-old Lester entered a not guilty plea in court. He's charged with felony assault and armed criminal action. Lester, prosecutors say, twice shot 16-year-old Ralph Yarl after the teen mistakenly rang the doorbell at Lester's home, thinking it was a different house. Yarl, who was picking up his two younger siblings, has suffered life-threatening injuries, authorities say. He had emergency surgery to remove bullet fragments from his skull, but his recovery has been remarkable. After that critical treatment, he was well enough to be released from the hospital Saturday. And this morning, our first look at Yarl at home. This picture shared by their family attorney, the teenager outdoors sitting on a bench smiling. His family says he is talking, and they believe it's a miracle that he is alive. Now, that homeowner is due back in court June 1st. If convicted, he could face life in prison. George?
That shooting in Kansas City, the latest in a string of troubling shootings in America. Ariel Rushup has the details on that. We're learning about another one this morning, Ariel.
We are, George. This is a very disturbing series of shootings across this country. Kids playing basketball on their street, cheerleaders coming home from practice, a young woman and her friends turning into the wrong driveway when suddenly their lives are taken or changed forever because of rage-filled and seemingly random gun violence.
Why did you shoot my daddy and me? Tried to shoot a kid's dad.
This morning, a 6-year-old girl and her parents recovering after they were shot by a neighbor, all because of an errant basketball. Authorities say 24-year-old Robert Louis Singletary grabbed a gun and approached a group of children after the basketball from their street game rolled into his driveway. According to police, William White, the father of 6-year-old Kingsley, noticed Singletary and tried to draw gunfire toward himself to protect the children before being shot in the back. He is still in the hospital. Authorities launching a massive manhunt for Singletary, who remains on the loose. That shooting just one of several causing alarm across the country. 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis was shot and killed in upstate New York when the car she was in pulled into the wrong driveway. Kevin Monahan, the man who allegedly fired the deadly shot, appearing in court Wednesday, charged with second-degree murder in connection with her death, the judge denying bail. The 65-year-old accused of shooting at a car full of young friends after they say they mistakenly turned into his driveway in a rural area 60 miles from Albany, New York, Saturday evening. Gillis, in the front passenger seat, struck by a single bullet.
Kaylin deserves to have her story told. And what a beautiful person she was.
And in this grocery store parking lot, just outside of Austin, Peyton Washington, Heather Roth, and 2 other members of the Woodlands Elite Cheer Company were heading home from practice when Roth says she tried to get into a car she thought belonged to her and saw a man inside.
I just saw like a black figure in the passenger seat, and I shut the door as fast as I could.
She ran back to her friend's car when the man approached her vehicle.
And then he just threw his hands up, and then he pulled out a gun. And then he just started shooting at all of us.
Roth was grazed by a bullet in the gunfire. Washington suffered serious injuries and was taken to the hospital. Police say the suspected gunman, Pedro Rodriguez, is now in custody.
Makes you realize what you take for granted pretty quickly that you do every single day when you never expect it to happen to you.
How often do we hear, "We never thought it could happen here"? Mass shootings have escalated to a record pace with at least 162 reported in 2023, and we are only in April. Rebecca?
Far too often. All right, Ariel Rushup, thank you. We turn now to a Southwest passenger's outburst over a crying baby that forced the plane to land before its destination. Eva Pilgrim is here with the story. Good morning, Eva. Can't imagine what that was like for both the parents and the passengers.
The video is insane, y'all. This man lost it. He was on a Southwest flight with a screaming baby, and let's be real, we all know that stinks. But what he chose to do got him kicked off that plane.
So is the baby!
morning, it's a mid-air meltdown of epic proportions aboard one Southwest flight, not just from the baby on board, but also from an adult passenger. This passenger seen losing his cool after a baby was crying for an extended period of time. Flight attendants pleading with him to stop yelling.
All of a sudden, this guy just started screaming on the top of his lungs. It was definitely a good 5 minutes or so. And it was just getting worse and worse and worse.
The Fort Lauderdale-bound flight landing in Orlando and all the passengers forced to deplane. As for that adult passenger, he was met by security at the gate. Southwest releasing a statement saying, "We commend our crew for exhibiting outstanding professionalism while handling a challenging situation, and we appreciate the patience of our other customers on board who had to experience the behavior."
I think the number one thing to say here is that even though our crews handle these things as diplomatically as they can, at the end result, if you don't sit down and close your mouth and stop doing whatever it was you're doing, you're going to be hauled off by police at the other end.
And I can tell you, as a parent of a small child, and I know you guys all have children as well, no one wants their child to scream ever, let alone on a plane with a bunch of strangers, but sometimes it's just unavoidable. My pro tip, and my husband has tested this out repeatedly, noise-canceling headphones. They do work.
So necessary. All right, Eva, thank you. And turning now to the SpaceX rocket set to take off after a failed first attempt. Our transportation correspondent Gio Benitez is here with the latest. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, Lindsay, good morning to you. Yeah, they're going to try again and